The Minnesota Vikings desperately need to upgrade the running back position, and oh boy, do they have a great class to choose from. But there are a few players that they really need to keep an eye on at the NFL Scouting Combine. The Minnesota Vikings need to upgrade the running back position, and it's one that has kind of hindered them since Dalvin Cook fell off a cliff at the end of his Vikings tenure. Alexander Mattison was not able to keep it up. And while Aaron Jones was really good last year, you can't trust him to play a full season, and you can't trust him to not get dinged up. It's just been a constant throughout his career, and you have to have somebody to be able to fortify the position. Luckily, this is an incredibly strong NFL draft class. The top is loaded. The middle class of it is loaded. And even the bottom tier is loaded with guys. There are upwards of 30, 35 players who could receive draftable grades in this class. It's bonkers. The Minnesota Vikings can capitalize on it. They might want to do so with the draft strategy from the Green Bay Packers. 2017, they drafted 3 running backs. Jamal Williams in the 4th round, Aaron Jones in the 5th, and I can't remember the guy in the 7th, but he didn't play very much. Williams and Jones were their top 2 guys for 4 years. They decided to extend Jones, and they let Jamal Williams walk out the door. Now, that strategy ended up working because they needed to find somebody. They needed to find somebody quickly. And putting that kind of resources into the position is a good idea, especially when a wide receiver is your leading rusher in Ty Montgomery in 2016. So the Vikings could think about doing the same, and there are a lot of interesting running backs to look at. Let's start with DJ Giddens from Kansas State. He's very similar to Aaron Jones, but he's a little bit bigger. And he's got great vision. He's a great zone runner, understands how to cut back, how to attack space that opens up, which is incredible for a zone guy. He just doesn't have that 5th gear to be able to really hit home runs. He can get you a 40 or 50, but he's not taking it 70 or 80 to the house. And that's what separates Giddens. If he can run well enough, run in the mid 4.5s, run 4.5, I think you could have a guy who could be really good because that burst through the hole is there tenfold. A couple other guys to look at. RJ Harvey from Central Florida. Harvey's an interesting player. He's just over 5'7", but he's 207 pounds and he's built really thick. His play style, his frame, it's so reminiscent of Jacksonville Jaguars running back Maurice Jones-Drew. You can't help but think that there's such similar players because Harvey is just a bowling ball. He runs through tacklers, he runs over guys, and he has the juice to be able to explode and hit a home run. But the size, is he going to be able to carry a real big boy workload? That's going to be the thing that is going to be really interesting to see. A couple other guys here. Travion Henderson, the Ohio State running back. He made some waves when Daniel Jeremiah made him the Vikings' 1st round pick in his 2nd mock draft. He was also the 3rd running back taken behind Ashton Genty at 21 to the Pittsburgh Steelers and Omarion Hampton at 22 to the Los Angeles Chargers. Henderson's a home run hitter. He's 5'10", over 200 pounds. Might be the best pass blocking running back in the class, and he can scoot. He can absolutely scoot. He can play in a gap scheme. He can play in a zone scheme. And that diverse running game that they had at Ohio State, he thrived in. But he's never been the bell cow. He had some injury issues earlier in his college career. And by having those injury issues, they didn't really trust him to handle the full workload. They brought in Quinshon Judkins, and they were a great, absolutely great 1-2 punch. The last guy we're going to talk about is Trevor Etienne, the running back from Georgia. He was a transfer from Florida, and he's just over 5'8", but he's 207 pounds, and he looks and plays like his brother, Travis, who went in the 1st round to the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2021. Now, Trevor is not quite as explosive, but he's very explosive. He's probably going to run low 4.4s. Maybe he breaks 4.39. That's up for debate. He's a very fast explosive. He understands how to use momentum. So when he hits a guy in the hole, he can bounce off him and use that momentum to kind of spring him forward for a few extra yards. He's got great vision, knows how to cut back, and he can play in a zone scheme really, really well. But he has also never been a workload guy. He's only had 20 carries or more in one game in his college career. In his first 2 seasons, he split time with Montreal Johnson, who's also in this class at Florida. And last year, he had a little bit of an ankle injury. He also had the 1-game suspension for a DUI arrest. And true freshman Nate Frazier stepped up. So there are a lot of good complementary backs in this class. And if you can have them with Aaron Jones for 1 year and then maybe double down later in the draft and get another one, the Vikings could be in really good shape moving forward. I'm Tyler Forness with A to Z Sports. Skol Vikings.